In step 2 of your curriculum development project, defining the program goals, you're going to develop a list of goal statements that really identify what students or athletes should be able to do when they've completed your program. So, what do you hope to teach and develop in your students or in your athletes once they have gone through your entire program? For example, if you take a look at the expectations of a physically literate child as defined by SHAPE's national standards, these are the expected outcomes for a student who goes through a quality physical education program. So regardless of what level, elementary, middle school, high school, anyone who has gone through what they call a quality program hopefully is able to meet all of these 5 standards of a physically literate individual. So those are the ultimate outcomes. Your program goals are similar in the fact that they should address the outcome expectations for students or athletes who has gone through your program. Don't simply modify these statements. Your program goals should be unique to your expectations. They should be aligned to your philosophy, and they should support what you actually believe to be important. Your goals should cover the ultimate outcomes of your programs and not those specific day-to-day activities or details that students are going to experience on a regular basis. So this is the broad, big picture. Also, keep in mind that your goals should address all of the games, the activities, the concepts, behavior, social, and physical skills that you plan to teach or coach throughout your entire program. And once this is done, you'll see how quickly you can create this extensive list of expectations. And what we're doing here is only a sample of a full curriculum. Realistically, you could have hundreds of goals that you want to accomplish, but then you'll actually need to narrow those down to what's important so that you can actually address those goals. So as you begin to brainstorm and develop a list of topics and ideas that you may want student or athletes to be able to do, you'll notice that you'll need to organize and start to make sense of those ideas. Now, a good method to begin this is to first of all write down the learning domains that you're expected to address throughout your program. Of course, these are the psychomotor domain, the cognitive domain, and the affective domain. Then, create a list of all the things you want your students or athletes to be able to do within each domain. For example, in the psychomotor domain, which is the physical skill component, you may want to create a list of skills that fall under the categories such as catching, passing or throwing, dribbling, jumping rope, manipulating a hockey stick, and so on. List as many as you can think of. These are just some of the actual physical skills you're going to address or you hope to address throughout your program. Then you'll do the same thing for the cognitive domain, understanding how to apply strategies, understanding offensive and defensive concepts, the rules of sport, explaining how the cardiovascular system works, understanding how the muscular system works when performing a particular exercise. All of these require some level of cognitive development or learning that should take place. Then for the affective domain, an example could include appreciation of physical fitness, developing social skills, conflict resolution, problem solving, engaging in activities outside of school, and anything else that demonstrates an appreciation for the content covered. So as you complete this process, you'll have a list of topics that you can begin to work with. Next, you'll edit the listing and include the topics that you really want to include in your program, those things that you find that are extremely important to you and to your program should be the things that are listed for your goal statements. And when creating your goal statements, they must be student or athlete focused. And this is done by simply beginning the statement with the phrase, all students will be able to, or all student athletes will be able to. If it's just solely on athletes, all athletes will be able to. Then you'll develop a goal of topics or a goal list of topics to include for each one of those domains. So for example, if you're a teacher and you're developing a goal for the psychomotor domain, it may look something like this. All students will be able to catch and throw a variety of manipulatives with proper form and accuracy. And this is a nice broad statement that covers more than just one type of passing skill. It includes the criteria of proper form and accuracy, and it's not enough to just cover throwing and catching a football, for example. We need to include a little bit more expectation, have it be a little bit more extensive, a little bit more broad. So this is a pretty good goal. Of course, you can't use this now or any of my goals that I'm using for these examples, so be creative. Think of your own as they apply to your particular program. These are just examples. Then for your cognitive domain listing, you may develop a goal that looks something like this. All students will be able to identify the muscles and what they do when performing a 90-degree angle push-up. And then you can pull from your affective domain topics and then develop something that says All student athletes will be able to display good sportsmanship during and after gameplay, whether winning or losing. And this is also something that all professional athletes actually need to learn, and all coaches need to understand and start to teach and incorporate why this is important. So whether you're a teacher, whether you're a coach, you will develop a list of 6 goal statements that are unique to your program. You should have 2 goal statements per domain, and you will soon combine your lists with your curricular team and then rank the importance of those goals. But before you do that, you will need to create 3 rationale statements for each goal. Your rationale statements should provide 3 justifiable reasons why your goal is important enough to include in your program. And if you're having trouble coming up with 3 different rationale statements or reasons, you may want to rethink your goal. For example, in our previous goal, we stated that all students will be able to catch and throw a variety of manipulatives with proper form and accuracy. And we need to justify this as a goal and provide a rationale or reasons why we think this is important enough to include in our curriculum. Why do we want to cover this? Why did we list this? And our first rationale statement may say something like this. Catching and throwing are basic skills that can be transferred to many other activities. We can have a second rationale statement that says catching and throwing can be done at home, encouraging participation in lifestyle or lifetime activities. And our third rationale statement could say catching and throwing are skills that will help in participation, will help in confidence towards participating in other sports, clubs, or recreational programs. And so you'll continue to create 3 different rationale statements for each goal that you've developed. And here's something to consider. The rationale statements should differ. Avoid using the same rationale statement for all of your goals. You may be able to justify a goal statement with the same rationale that says this can be done at home or it can be transferred to other skills, but don't do that. Not only is this a simple and easy, lazy method to complete this assignment, it doesn't really require any real thought or effort. Ensure that you are giving your rationale statement some thoughts and trying to really justify the goals that you've identified. And then you'll see that once you're done with this process, you'll have a long list, and this is fine. Remember, the idea is not to simply complete an assignment, it's to develop a full curriculum that you can actually use personally or professionally. And this is a practical application in the process. And after you've developed your 6 goal statements and rationales for each, then you will determine your curricular team. Find out who has similar responsibilities, get together with those individuals, and once that's done, you will work on the consensus building technique. Here, you're going to create a chart, and as a group, you're going to list all of the goal statements that everyone has come up with in no particular order, and then each person is going to individually rate or rank each one of those goals in order of importance. And the textbook does a pretty good job explaining this step by step, so be sure you take a look at that. But basically what you're going to do is list all of the goals on the left side of a chart and then include the names of everyone in your group at the top of that chart. Then, individually, without initially discussing it with your group members, just rate the goals based on which ones you think are the most important, and you'll just do this in order. So after reading through your list of goals, if you think goal number 3 is the most important, just put a number 1 next to goal number 3 below your name in that category. And then you'll continue to do this to rank all of the goals in that order. Then you're going to compare how all of your group members rank the goals. So total the number of rankings once this chart is done. So after each individual has done this, get together, compare, compile a chart with everyone's name on it, total the rankings over to the right of the chart. And then to get the average, you're just going to divide the total by the number of group members you have. And the result is the average ranking of goals. So if you have 12 different goals, you rank them, you rated them, each person did that, you'll add the total for each goal, each person ranked, and then you'll divide that by however many members are in your group. And you'll use this to identify the top 10 goals that your group has ranked. And these 10 goals will further be used in later curriculum steps. And if you notice that you have an abundance of goals from one particular domain, try to modify, adjust this so you have a good balanced representation of all the different domains for your goals. You should have at least 3 goals for each domain. So 3 goals for psychomotor, 3 goals for cognitive, 3 goals for affective, and then your 10th goal can be any one of the 3. This information should be included in each individual curriculum step number 2 assignment submission. So if you have your 6 goal statements with your 3 rationales, your ranking chart, and your final list of 10 goals, each student will submit that separately. Now there's a lot to get done, as you can see. As I always say, be sure you plan ahead, spend some time during the week, work in advance, and please ask questions if you have them. That'll do it for now. Take care, and I'll see you online.